alluded to, the housing problem in the Gulf Coast is one of the ongoing crises resulting from the hurricanes. And the housing situation there, as I said, when I told Sharon we wanted her to lead off, I think that the Gulf Coast is really viewed as a microcosm of how things can go wrong in times of crisis. And so we're going to have Deborah Burton talk a little bit more about housing and the housing situation in Los Angeles to help fill out the picture of what we're dealing with the housing crisis in the United States.
Thank you. Again, my name is Deborah Burton. I'm a resident of Los Angeles, California, in the United States of America. I work with the Los Angeles Community Action Network, an organization dedicated to fighting for the human right to housing, as well as all other human rights. We are part of a campaign to restore national housing rights. National housing rights in the United States has been under serious attack for the last 3 decades. In the 1980s, federal funding for housing was slashed to almost nothing. Public housing construction ended and demolition became common across the country. Homelessness became a national crisis. The foreclosure crisis caused by corruption and predatory practices in the private market is the most recent cause of massive homelessness and other housing rights violations. The recent failure of the U.S. housing market has also highlighted the destruction and consequences of a long-term attack on programs designed to assist those who have fallen on hard times. Currently, the U.S. housing policy relies heavily on the private market. However, the market cannot provide decent housing for millions of families, including those with the lowest income and those who have been shut out of the market. Foreclosure crisis shows that this model is not sustainable for communities and falls short of a human rights to housing for all in the U.S. Despite the failure of recent U.S. housing policy, the U.S. historically recognizes that decent housing is so fundamental that it should not be left to the free market alone. The campaign to restore national housing rights is a coalition of housing rights organizations and community groups around the country that is calling on the national government to reclaim its historical commitment to provide adequate housing for all. Our steering committee is made up only of organizations who is led by impacted residents like myself. Together, we work to promote the human rights to housing across the U.S. and make sure that the people understand their rights to housing. We focus on making improvements for low and middle income people in the following areas. First, we work with homeowners facing foreclosure, tenants facing eviction, homeless people in need of housing, and other peoples working to improve their housing conditions and rights. We believe that true solution will be enacted only if impacted residents play a role in every part of the process. Second, we work to prevent any displacement due to foreclosure, eviction, criminalization, and other unfair housing practices, and that place profit over the basic need of people. Third, our goal is to prevent any loss of public housing and increase the amount of housing available to the lowest income people. We firmly believe that the government must own and operate public housing as a cornerstone of meeting our human rights to housing obligations. It is urgent that more people understand that the U.S. is not a model for their rights to housing, that our government is doing everything it can to remove them, but our government is doing everything to remove them even more for their obligation. This is why I'm asking the U.S. government to bring about the following. 1, a moratorium on economically motivated eviction, from eviction of public housing residents to families facing foreclosures. 2, fully fund public housing and stop all demolition and disposition of or loss of public housing and subsidized housing. And 3, a decision-making process for development that is truly and meaningful, exclusive of people like me who has been and will be directly impacted. Thank you.